Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with JOCELYN. She has a brand new EP out. It is called Missing Rib, and I'm super excited to talk to her all about it. JOCELYN, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. How are you? What's going on?
I'm good. Honestly, it's been super crazy this summer, especially when I started making the Missing Rib EP.
Yeah.
I'm working full time and also handling three 8-week classes for school. So I don't even know how I found time to even work on music. So it's just crazy. And the fact that I kind of released it in the midst of craziness with my final exams and midterms.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's okay though. Listen, sometimes you just feel this creativity inside of you and you need to get it out. And I know that you have your own life going on. Sometimes it's not all about the serious stuff. You gotta, switch directions and kind of like nurture the creativity inside you. I fully
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
Um, the first thing I really want to talk about here is the meaning behind this record. I know it's obviously a very personal record,
Mhm.
but I want to know what inspired it and if there's sort of like a general theme to the record or it's just a series of individual songs.
So definitely going into it, I made it very personal. It spoke a lot about my faith, Christianity,
Yeah.
and mainly the missing rib is a reminder for us women to see ourselves, the way Christ sees us, to always embrace our worth and His image. Um, with the missing rib, though, so women were formed from Adam's rib, and when you apply that to today's day and age, where it's like hookup culture and all these mixed
Yeah.
signals and confusion, it's kind of hard to apply that same principle where God knew that Adam needed Eve, but in the situation of today, it's kind of like, well, where am I at? Like, are we together? Da da da. But I think in the end,
Yeah.
it's more
Bit
about,
of a different
yeah.
situation from back then to now.
Oh yeah. So it's like a point of like, we are the missing rib. We are the ones who have to be found and not to chase and seek validation from the world and from others and especially men. But yeah.
Absolutely. Did you feel like a maybe like a cathartic feeling to get these thoughts into words, into actual songs?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was drawing a lot from my past relationships, and that was
Yeah.
like Jocelyn BC before Christ. And so none of it
Sure.
was Christ centered at
Sure.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it was so fun to write these songs, and I did take a longer time writing these songs because I don't know, it just felt like I needed to come out with something, a fresh new sound apart from my album that I released
Sure.
last year. But I wanted to create it in a way that it still had that secular sound, but it still, announced the gospel in some way.
No, I completely understand that. I'm actually really happy you brought that up because I think a lot of people will go into this record and experience it in a couple different ways. When people listen to music, sometimes they completely disregard the lyrics and they just listen to the music for the way that it makes them feel. I think
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. However, you've put something together here that is super diverse and there's so many different genres presented that I wouldn't want people to have their attention taken away from what you're actually trying to say versus just listening to the sound.
Mhm.
And just to go off on a little rant, all I have to say is like I'm impressed with the production and the fact that you've weaved in so many different sounds and styles and made it your own and then still never put the lyrics on the back burner. You put your message up front. So it's like when people listen to this, I want them to listen to the whole thing. And if they need to go back two or three times to really break it all down, then I think it's really important to do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even with the songs I listened to before, breaking away from secular music, I realized like, oh, those lyrics are actually those type of lyrics, and I'm actually saying them out loud, and words are
Yeah.
powerful for me. So it's like, okay, I'm drawing that in.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be like that, then I might as well create that same sound, but then just kind of switch around the lyrics and
Right.
then
Exactly.
a little more
So how
positive.
did yeah, what was the actual blueprint for making this record? I'm sure that you had an idea what you wanted it to sound like, but what was the actual process of being like, well, I don't want it to just be pop and I don't want it to just be R&B. I want to kind of infuse all these things into it.
That's my thing. And I think that's where my borderline ADHD kicks in because
Sure.
whenever I'm on my long drives, I just start humming things and like writing things down in my brain. I'm not going to like text and drive, but
Yeah,
um,
of course.
I didn't want to just stick to just one genre for the whole EP or even an
Yeah.
album for that matter. I was just like, ditch the playbook and just do whatever you want, whether it's Christian reggaeton, Christian R&B, indie. Um, it was just do whatever you feel would sound right with this EP, make it a story. And if people love it, cool. And if they don't, then I made it for me.
Well, that's the most important thing is like you're the one that put the time and energy into it. If it's not something that you'd want to listen to, then what's the point of making it?
Right.
The thing that I have to ask is because it's such a broad sound and style is like for each particular song, did you write the lyrics and then kind of figure out how you wanted it to sound, or did the production come first, then the lyrics came in?
Lyrics for me always come first for
Okay,
whatever
cool.
reason because I know before when I did make secular music it was always the beat would happen and I would just fill it in with the words, but I needed like a running like a blueprint to work off of, whether it was like a passage from the Bible, and in this case it was
Sure.
Genesis. So that helped me so much, and a lot of it I was just grabbing from that passage, so it was
Got
just
it.
but yeah.
Very cool. Obviously you operate as a solo artist, at least in the name, but did you have anyone helping you out in terms of, polishing it up at the end?
Yes, I give a whole thank you, a big hearted thank you to New Cut Recordings,
Cool.
Tucker and Tanner. Um, they've been such a huge help. They're producers and engineers at New Cut Recordings. Um, they, I remember at times during the studio time, I would be like, "Can you just be brutally honest with me? Like, does it sound good?"
Yes.
And they were like, "Yeah, exactly." I was like, "But I don't believe you. I need you to say like good."
I
Um,
get it.
yeah, no, they kept adding their own twists to it, and it just kept going up and right and left to a different sound that I would have never imagined. So it just kind of elevated. But they helped a bunch, especially with my feature, DeLuna.
Yeah.
He hasn't made Christian music before, but once he was in the booth and started, freestyling, I was like, okay, it seemed like it was just
Yeah.
like a nature to him. So it was cool how everyone just kind of added their own twist on it.
Right. And I think in your case, one of the most important things, especially for someone that's, continuing to make a name for themselves, if
Mhm.
you're not working with people that are going to be honest with you, then you can't work with those people. It's kind of a situation of like collecting the paycheck and getting the production done versus
Right.
like I actually want to make some art here and can you help me do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. They cared a lot
Right.
about the project, and that's what meant the most to me. They were passionate about their craft, and they're still like working on, improving their craft as well. So it all melded really well together with their help.
No, I fully agree. In terms of like, I know I keep going back to this broad sound, but
Mhm.
were there specific artists or bands that you were trying to channel while making this thing?
Yes, definitely. I guess with the first one, the interlude, that one was when I was trying to channel Tame Impala because I do love their sound so, so much. And I was just like, it's gonna be that type beat, but it's gonna be JOCELYN imprint on it. And
Yeah,
then there's
yeah.
gonna be what was another one? Cigarettes After Sex and the Missing Rib song. That was one I was really passionate about because I was like, I love their sound so, so much. But adding in lyrics about my faith was a big, thing to also add in. And then there's also the Christian R&B Thames. I wanted to channel her and have that same beat, that same energy that she brings to her music. But those are mainly the big three that I had in mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, those are all awesome. And I now when I go back and listen, I'm gonna think
Yeah.
of those and then be like, oh, I totally get what she was going for here. This fully makes sense.
Very
Uh,
different genres for sure.
yeah. But that's the thing is like the whole record is different genres. If you're listening to one artist and you make a record, then it's going to just be a ripoff of that artist. But if you're not listening to a little bit of everything that's different, then it's, then
Yeah.
you never know what you're going to make.
Yeah.
Um, is performing live something that you'd want to do, or is it something that you have done?
That's a great question. I actually was kind of like, okay, I'm never going to perform again after I quit making secular music because that was a point in my life where I kind of lost myself, but we don't talk about that. And so I kind of just quit with the whole performances, the tours, and just kind of left all of that behind. But I did announce last month that I would begin performing again in the spring of 2025. And I am building a band with that
Awesome.
time. So I needed people with me on stage because I just need that energy behind me as well.
I get that. I mean, listen, again, there's so much going on here. I think it would be difficult for you to just be up there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just like the energy of having a band up there is a completely different experience.
Oh yeah,
So
for
say go
sure.
for it.
I already have
Is
a drummer
there
lesson.
there you go.
Yeah.
Is there a single song on this record that you look forward to performing live the most?
Hmm. I would have to say the Christian reggaeton song that's called Tu Cora, which means your heart. Um, that one would be interesting to add like a drum set to it. And the Freeway song, that one's kind of like a pop, hip hop pop, but like that one I feel like would go off with the crowd in a good way. And no, I'm very excited to perform those songs live.
Awesome. I mean, listen, if you're ever in the LA area and you've got a show, please let me know. I would love to see it
Yeah,
happen.
for sure.
Absolutely. Listen, we're right at the end of November here. Things are kind of taking a back seat for the rest of the year. Have you started to look towards 25? And, if so, if any is anything in the works, anything, plans wise?
I am actually creating some songs with a couple of features, other Christian artists. I mean, I'm
Nice.
not the only Christian artist in the area, in the DMV area, or for the fact the whole US and the whole world, but
Sure.
I'm always looking to collab and
I think that's so important, just for networking, but also just to build each other up. But
oh
please
yeah,
keep
for sure.
going.
I love collaborations. They're like the best. It's the feeding off each other to make something great. And that's what
Absolutely.
I did with this project. It was really fun to make.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are there any songs or maybe even demos from this record that didn't make the cut that you think might be suited for something in the future?
Hmm. I would have to. Oh, well, it's funny. The songs on the record we're not gonna make because I was just like, I have those moments where I'm like, I'm just gonna delete this song. I don't like it, and
Yeah,
then a day later I change my mind. Like, no, it's gonna stay. Because what if someone likes it and then
right.
yeah. And that's funny because it was off of the song Missing Rib, like the name of the EP that
Sure.
wouldn't make it, and that was the cigarettes after sex type beat song.
Okay, okay.
Which I was like, no, that has to stay because then this won't make sense at all.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely didn't carry over some lo-fi songs that I was working on
Okay.
into this record, but I definitely am looking forward to making possibly a lo-fi album with
That would
it.
be awesome. And listen, obviously, no rush on your end. It sounds like you've got a ton of things going on in your personal life. So
Yeah.
I understand. But in terms of making new music, I find that most creative people I talk to, it kind of never stops running in your head. You know what I'm saying? Even though this record is out in the world and I hope people listen and enjoy it, there's something got to be in you that's like, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I'm gonna work on here.
Definitely the performances. That's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if I had like a option to do like a missing rib tour, I would definitely start, mood boarding a ton of things for
Oh, yeah.
um I love the marketing aspect of it, which is actually what I work in right now.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah. Okay, then you have a marketing brain just like me. So you know that it kind of never stops. You see things and it gets you going.
Oh yeah.
Um, I I have a couple more questions for you. One, a little kind of just to get to know you. I always wonder why people take the path of creating music. Was there like a singular point or thing or event in your life that kind of led you to being like, I think I want to try this for myself?
Um, in the beginning, when I wanted to actually start releasing music, that was when I was kind of more geared to looking for like fame, fortune, and just all that clout that came with it.
Yeah,
But then I went and geared and gave my life to Christ, and that's where it was more. I want to connect with God in on a deeper level, and I
yeah,
want to, influence people to hear His word. And while doing that, I'm also healing myself. But it was definitely a good outlet for me to create music that had uplifting words and could speak to you in different ways. And yeah, no, it making music about my faith definitely helped a lot with my anxiety and my like depression in the earlier
yeah.
stages. But yeah.
I love that. Like I said, everyone, it's such an interesting creative outlet that so many people want to try to do, and some people just don't know how. But even writing lyrics and treating it almost like a diary, it's like, you get it out and it makes you feel a little bit better. And I think that's all that matters. Um, the last thing that I'd love to know, and I think it's for everyone that's going to listen to your record for the first time, is there something that you'd like to say to them, like an opening message or just like a, hey, if you're going to listen to this is what you need to know.
Hey, if you're gonna listen to this, just know that you have a lot of value. Your time is very valuable. You yourself are very valuable. And I know things may make sense right now or may not make sense. It's always good to, look within and connect with the Lord. And if you feel like things are silent right now, always use prayer as a tool to, um, connect even with yourself.
Yeah,
In that sense, it's just communication. At the end of the day, communication is the biggest thing, but
of
communication with
course.
God is the one that's the biggest like help, and it's very powerful.
Nice.
But
No,
yeah,
I think that's a great message, and I sincerely want to thank you for taking the time. I'm really happy that we could, that we ended up making this work.
yeah.
But before we wrap up here, I want to just obviously plug this record for you one more time. So, for anyone that didn't know, I'm speaking with JOCELYN right now. The EP is called Missing Rib. In the article and everywhere else, we will have the links so that you can listen and share and follow along and generally just stay tuned for more. I highly recommend this. And like I said, when we first started, was like, if it takes two or three listens to digest the lyrics and then the instrumentation, that's fine. It's a dense record, but there's so much beauty in it. Like it deserves more than just a passive once through, in my opinion. So thank you for making it and thank you for taking the time. It means a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity to interview.
You're very welcome. And one more thing is good luck with everything you have coming up in your life.
Thank
So
you.
truly, like, you
You as
know,
well.
it's not finals, I know that.
Oh,
But,
oh my
but
goodness.
thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
You too.
Take care. Bye bye.